welcome to another episode of Ask Ira. This is Job Seekers Q&A, Monday, September 28th, 2020. This is my last live broadcast, I think, I'll be on tomorrow. Never mind. Nope. No. I'll be on tomorrow on Speed Networking with Mike and Ira, and then I'll be on Wednesday with Wednesday's Cup of Joe. But this is my last Job Seekers show here in September. So if you are watching, welcome. Do me a favor. Let's do roll call. Where are you coming to me from? I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. I'm just typing here. Everyone. You got to have some comments going on. So there it is. Hello, everybody. If you don't know me, my name's Ira. I own and operate Project Help You Grow. You might have heard of us. We've been around for a few years now. We actually... the website is going on year 3 now. We had our official birthday, September 22nd. The website went live September 22nd of 2018. So now we're going on year 3. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people served. I don't have the exact number for you. Frankly, it goes up every single day, which is awesome. So welcome. I don't know how to say it. I don't want to butcher it. From Trinidad and Tobago. My friend Viana is here. She was actually on the show with us Saturday. If you didn't catch that, I added a brand new page onto Project Help You Grow. I actually made a couple different changes to the site. I was going to change the theme, and I was halfway through it, and I decided, I don't like it because a lot of the code, the HTML wasn't converting over, so I switched it back. But through that process, I also took down the events page because, frankly, there's not a lot of events going on. So it kind of didn't make sense. Updated the partners page a little bit, but I added this new page, and really what it is, it's these episodes. So I've got 6 of them on there, I think, right now, and a few more that I'm going to need to load. But I run this show 2 times a week, and I know that not all of you can be here during the show, and so that's why I do it twice. Hello from Pittsburgh. And hello, Ahmed. I don't know where you're from there. Cool. Thank you, Danielle. I actually do this on Saturdays and I do it on Mondays. I have them at different times on purpose because I'm trying to help other people who may not be able to see at one time or the other to at least catch one. But if you go to Project Help You Grow or to YouTube, frankly, you can catch them there on my YouTube channel. But if you're at the website, you can just go to Ask Ira and watch any of the episodes. I have my podcasts. And then I have my Ask Ira. They're 2 different. Project Podcast is a little bit different. So I made different tabs there for you. But hello from Mexico, Marcela. I'm actually going to be in Mexico in January. I'll be down at Cabo San Lucas, I believe is where I'm headed. So maybe I'll see you when I'm there. But when I'm there that week, I probably won't do the show live. So, oh, wow, I got it right. That's pretty good because I butcher a lot of names. So sorry about that. Hello from Kansas. Hello, Corey. I actually know somebody with the exact same name, is spelled exact same way. He is out of San Antonio, Texas. So Corey Moore, the other Corey Moore, is one of my old church friends. I used to know him from church. So anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. If you have a question already that you would like to talk about, then go ahead and throw that in the queue. This is kind of like a rapid fire, first in, first out. I try to get through as many questions as I can. Mondays seem to be a little bit slower with the volume of questions, which is totally fine. We can get into more details on the individual questions themselves, which is great. I do have a topic that I want to cover today, and it's along the vein of, sorry, I already got some of this. Yeah, Cabo San Lucas. I've been there before. I really liked it. So my wife and I are going back. My wife is in Scentsy. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a wickless candle fragrance company. So anyway, she's a director, and they're doing a leadership conference down there in January. So we're going to go check that out. I think it's like the first week of January. It's really right after the brand new year. Hello from Sweden, Tessin. Nice to see you here. And welcome from Dubai. Thank you so much, Eric. Appreciate you joining the show. Again, if you guys have any questions or any comments or whatever, go ahead and Put them in the comment section. I'm actually getting ready to write a blog. I have not done it yet, but I'm going to. And here's what the blog is going to be about. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to share my screen. And let's see, before I do that, let me just open up a new session of LinkedIn here. I don't know if you guys know this, but I broadcast live from LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So I'm going to write an article. In the article, okay. Yep, that's what we're seeing. Okay, good. So the article that I'm going to write is actually about this thing right here. Okay. So when you're on LinkedIn and you're struggling with the algorithm, because there's a lot of people in my algorithm that I just don't see anymore. So I'm redoing this as we speak. I had one, there was several hundred people in it, and it just got to be too cumbersome. So what I did is I deleted it and I'm starting over. But here's what I've got. I've got some of my friends. These are people that I want to see in my feed that I'm not seeing in my feed. So instead of seeing them in my feed, I'm just gonna, click on this guy, and it's gonna take me straight to their post, because that's what I want to do. I want to get busy making more comments on my friend's post. Foster Williams is one of my friends, so I set him up last night. In fact, when I did, I made a comment right here on his post, as you can see it. I did this last night, I think 20 hours ago. So anyways, I'm going to write an article about that. The whole point of it is really simple. It's just this. Networking is super important. Staying connected to the folks that you are really trying to engage with is also important. So, for example, you might want to go to work for a company, let's just say Bowman Digital Media. I'm not hiring, but let's say I was. You want to go to work for Bowman Digital Media. You might want to highlight or follow the business, Bowman Digital Media, and all the key players. Now I'm an entrepreneur. It's just me, right? So Bowman Digital Media is just Ira. I'm an army of one. But let's say I had 15 employees. You might want to, find the department manager, the owner, the person in marketing, whatever you're interested in. But you might want to follow all those people. Now, when you follow them, you still are not going to see all of their posts. You're not going to see all their activity, right? Because of the way the algorithm works. It's kind of pick and choosing for you what it thinks you might be most interested in, and that's how they work. And none of them are perfect, right? You can try to train it a little bit, and you can by engaging with people more. You're going to see more of their stuff, of course. But if you bookmark as a favorite the post, and I'll show you I'm going to make a video on how I do it, and I'm going to write an article on how I do it, and you can watch the video or read the article. But anyways, that's coming. The reason why I'm talking about it here on this show is because for you as job seekers, I think there are people that you really should be following and not leave it up to the feed or the algorithm, to see what they have going on. You should visit them on purpose. You should make it part of your daily routine. Biana and I, we talked about that a little bit. I have an article, with a time schedule on Project Help You Grow. And part of that is networking. And in that time, if you're following my schedule, this is where you would do these activities. And you would go through, instead of your feed, you would go through your bookmarks. And then you're going to see exactly who you want to see, as opposed to randomly scrolling. So it's a way to take back control of the time. You can get more done that way. Like I said, I had so many before that I just had to blow it up and start over. But it's a good way to do it. Northern California, Dolores. Where in Northern California? I'm actually a Bay Area brat myself. I live now down in Smell Lake. That's what we call it in the Bay Area. We call it Smell Lake. But that's where I live now. So I live in the Inland Empire. But I lived all over. I went to San Jose State. I lived in Napa. I lived in San Jose. I lived in Sunnyvale. I lived in the East Bay. I lived in in Manteca, which is by Stockton, in a bedroom community there at the end. I lived in Morgan Hill and Gilroy. I lived all over. So just curious, and hope you're doing okay. I know the fires have resparked. I've got family still in Napa, and the fires are going there. So I hope you are safe too. Welcome from Sierra Leone, Habib. Welcome. Let's see. We've got Indianapolis, Indiana. I got quite a few folks from there. In fact, I just got done doing a post for my buddy Joe, the finance guy. I manage his social media page now. And anyways, I made a post about diamonds are a girl's best friend. And anyways, kind of fun. So he's from Indianapolis. And welcome from Pakistan, Muhammad. Good to have you here. So it looks like I think I got, oh, and I got Mary from Kenya. Welcome. So does anybody have any questions? If you don't have any questions, let me give you some topics. Let me give you some help. I don't have any questions in. I'm 11 minutes in. Usually I have a few questions going by now. You can ask me about your resume. You can ask me about interview prep. You can ask me about, I just did an article on cover letters. You could ask me about that. I've got a formula that I could share. It comes in 4 parts. The cover letter formula is really simple for me. It comes in 4 parts. One is the introduction, 2 or 3 sentences max. Paragraphs 2 and 3 are going to be the bulk of your cover letter. You're going to talk about the company itself, why you want to work for the company. And then number 2, in paragraph 3, you're going to talk about the position itself and how you qualified. And that's where you're going to keyword match in that 3rd paragraph. That's really going to be the heart of it. And then 4, you're going to conclude by asking for the interview. It seems obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. So Sonia's in the house. Welcome, Sonia. Where are you from again? Tell us where you're from. We've got a LinkedIn user from France. Bonjour. And from India, Hargovind. Is that how you say it? That might not be right. Hargovind. I could be totally butchering it. Hope I got it right. Welcome. It's really late there. It's 12:45 in the morning. You might have a job where you have to work overnight because of the United States hours, but really late there. I appreciate you being here. So without any questions, I'm going to start talking about the resume a little bit. And if you have a question, you can pipe in at any time with the question, okay? And I'll just jump onto that. But one of the things I want to talk to you guys today with the resume is the font type. Oh, we have a question already. So here we go. What are the best practices for staffing agencies to prep their employees to interview with a client? Okay, I have an article that I've written. It's called Winning the Interview. I really suggest that you go onto Project Help You Grow and read it. In fact, I will go to the website right now and pull it up, and then I'm just going to copy the link and I'll paste it for you. But some of the things that you want to do, staffing agencies are doing a great service, right? They're trying to get people ready to introduce people and find, so there's the ears for folks and they have the relationships. And so people pay them to help find a job. Great. If you want to really help job seekers right now, you need to make sure they're technically sound. Their background is good. Like I'm sitting in front of a green screen. I'm going to imagine that most of you don't have a podcast studio at home, right? You don't have the fancy microphone and the lights and all that stuff. I totally get it. Here's what you can do. Find a neutral wall wherever you're going to record. Make sure there's no noise pollution. Make sure that the camera angle is above you looking down. So we're not looking up at the ceiling or up in your nose or anything crazy, right? You want it eye level or slightly higher. If you look at mine, my camera is probably 3 inches or so above my head and then coming just slightly down. Okay. Stuff like that. Lighting. A lot of people miss on lighting, but you can go to the store. I'm going to raise this up just so you guys can see it. You can go to the store and buy things like this. And I use traditional yellow bulbs for these. These are to counteract. I have LED lights to light my back screen, to light my green screen. Okay. And so when I did that, one of the problems that I had was that it was starting to wash my face out, almost made me look pale, right? So working on the lighting and stuff, you don't want any shadows. All those things make a big difference. Now, the other thing, again, I want you to come and check out this article that I've written. It's really probably the best article I think that I've written. So let me share the screen again. And this is, I'm going to move that just so you can see it. Okay. It's called win the art. It's win the interview, right? So once you have the interview, you're really close to being hired. Okay. So I have in here an interview prep checklist. You want to check this out. So they want to review the company history and overview so you know everything that you can about the company you're interviewing with. Now, where do you do that? One of the places where you do that is on their website, on their social media, places like that. But you can also go to like Glassdoor and things. Okay. Let me keep going. Now, management style and ownership type. These are things that you should know about before you go in. We'll get into why in a second. Company culture. You want to know about the company culture. Also, if it's a branch, you want to do some research on the branch because the branch might be different than the company itself. And I've actually run into that a few times in my own career, and that's been a problem at times. Okay. You want to learn about the company manager or whoever is going to be interviewing you. Okay. The competition, learn a little bit about who you're competing with, who they compete with, because that's going to be your competition. All these things can help you in an interview. The financial market, how are they doing in the market itself? Is it privately held? Is it publicly traded? Is it a solo owner or is it ownership group? These are all clues for you in the interview to help you. Annual review and trend for both company and industry. Again, this is in the financials. How are they doing as a company compared to others in the industry? And how are they doing compared to Wall Street or the market as a whole? Questions for the interviewer. You want to have those questions ready to go. An informational interview with an outside source to prep you for this role, and a salary request. I then go into detail for each of these, as you can read in the article. Okay. So again, it's pretty detailed, but this is free. Anybody can read this. You don't have to even have an account. You can just go to Project Help You Grow and read that. So I'm going to take the URL here, and I'm going to paste it into. I'm going to paste it into the comments. And now you can just go and grab that for free. Okay, it's right there. So hopefully that will help you. The number one thing I would say is make sure they're technically sound, to give you just a direct answer right here without you having to read anything. Make sure they're technically sound so the interview goes as well as it can with the environment. And then the other thing is a lot of people are not preparing their questions. They're just treating the questions like in the moment. And I think that's a giant mistake, because one of the things I can tell you that every hiring manager is looking for, especially right now, because there are so many different people available to hire. The competition is great. So what they really want to see from the interviewee is that they're passionate about working for them. And one of the things that you can do to communicate that is by having in-depth prepared questions that when they say, "Do you have any questions for me?" and you ask them, they're like, "Wow." It shows some pre-planning and it shows some knowledge of my company. For example, if you ask a question relating from the competition, their competition, to them about how your role and how that affects your role and how you might be able to do your role better to help alleviate their headaches and increase their sales, for example, that's a winning question. It takes work to do that. So the preparation, I mean, everything's preparation, right? In life. If you prepare well, then you're going to do well, usually. Okay. Another question came in. Oh, not a question. As you enjoy this live chat, check this out. I don't know what that is. It's probably somebody trying to sell something. Sorry. Hello from Morocco, talking about this interested subject. Cool. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome. What can you do to eliminate showing of your age on resume? Okay. I talk about this a lot. Ageism. I am in my 40s, full disclosure. And I learned about ageism a long time ago as a hiring manager, because I was actually told to practice ageism. I'm just going to be completely honest. I was told not to hire people that are old, but I was told that we can't just, openly discriminate against people with more experience. We have to be sneaky about it. So I know for a fact ageism is real, because up to that conversation, I don't think I ever thought about it. But I had a conversation with the vice president of a company, And they told me that. And I was like, okay, that's the policy. I got to do what I have to do because they're my employer, right? But so I learned about this whole ageism thing a long time ago doing that. But what can you do to eliminate it? I'm going to do this for you guys. I have written a resume. It's a resume template. And in it, this is one of the things that I address. So I'm going to go open this up right now, and we're going to go through it right now on screen. It's funny, every time I open this up, Word thinks it wants to give me suggestions on Word wants to give me suggestions on how to write a resume, which I think is hilarious because Word resume templates usually are not good. But anyways, here we go. All right. So the ATS is super important, obviously, when you're writing a resume. Here is a resume that is 100% ATS compliant and addresses ageism. So let's go through it, okay? First thing I want you to notice is the fonts are all simple. I was about to talk about this before I had gotten the first question, which was, use something like Romans, Arial. I have the list for you. Georgia, there's a few of them. I'll show you where to find it in a minute. But you don't notice, like right here, you can have your email address, but you need to remove the hyperlink. No underlines, no horizontal lines at all. This right here is called piping, or it's a vertical line, and vertical lines are okay. But you do not want columns. You do not want any graphics. You don't want any headers or footers. You take all of that out. And I know that people have those. There's a lot of people that don't understand why I do what I do. But just trust me when I tell you that all of this was based off of a deep dive of research into the ATS, visiting the ATS programs themselves, the companies that write those stuff, and putting it in. So how do we handle ageism specifically on a resume? You have employment history, right? So what you're going to do here is you're going to put up to 10 years worth of stuff in here. Then, now I did this back in 2019, so some of these dates are a little bit old, okay? But that's okay. It's just for the template. And then here's where you handle anything older than 10 years. You're going to create a new category called earlier working experience. Now, in full disclosure, I did not have this template before I knew Kirsty Bonner. Kirsty Bonner is the one who helped me with this, and I'm very thankful to her for that. Okay, but she and I were friends. So she saw my resume one day, and I had like 15 years of experience on it. And she goes, "Ira, you need to knock that off. This is not good for ageism." And I thought, but I'm only 40. Do I really have to worry about that? And she's like, yes, you do. The things I learned from Kirsty Bonner. Anyways, back to the story. Okay. So earlier work experience. Now here, look, we've got 3 things that we're showing. We're going to show the name of the company, the title, and the location. And that's all you're going to put there. Okay. Now, again, education. Anything that doesn't have a degree associated with it, pull it out. Right? Like if you graduated with a BA, which is what I've got here, okay, then have that. But I used to have like my high school listed, and I went to San Jose State for, believe it or not, 6 years after I graduated high school. I didn't graduate college the first go around, right? I had a bunch of college credits, but I didn't actually have a degree. I pulled all of that out because it's irrelevant. You know what is relevant? The fact that I have my degree. Now, in just a few years, I would actually pull this out too, the dates, because it's after 10 years. But this actually is there because it's sneaky now. Okay, full disclosure. I want to look you in the eyes when I say this. It's a little bit sneaky. I graduated college in my 30s, but it doesn't say anywhere that when you go to college, it has to be when you're 18 to 22 or whatever, right? So I leave it there, the date there, because it makes me look younger. It's kind of the opposite. I'm countering their ageism tactics by infusing some anti ageism. I don't know what there's a technical term, I'm sure, for the military folks that are watching, right? It's like when somebody's coming at you and they're trying to lock onto you, and you do a flash thing and it fools like you're over here. Anyways, I'm not a military guy, so that's what I got for you. But here we go. Back to this. So this actually works in my favor because it makes me look like I'm, maybe in my late 20s or early 30s, right? So I leave it. But when it's 2023 or 2024, I will, take that out. Of course, for me now, I'm a business owner, so I don't have to worry about my resume anymore. But this is a good teachable moment for you guys. Okay. And now again, I want you to notice here, it's 2 pages and 2 pages only, right? If you have less experience, like let's say, maybe 5 or 6 years of work experience or less, you should only use 1 page. But anyways, this is my template. When people send me a DM or ask me for a resume template to use, an ATS compliant resume template, this is what I send them. Now, if you don't have this because you've only been working for 6 or 7 years, you just delete that out. Just take that section out, right? Okay. So anyways, hope that answers the question. I probably generated a few more questions with all of that, but that's okay because that's what we're here for. Next one. What make difference in work search in different companies or countries? Okay. Right now, because of the COVID-19, it's really hard to find a job in another country, but there are some countries that are actively searching. So what you would want to do if you're serious about just moving anywhere, do a search on the internet. Go to Google, type in shortage of labor in, and then put in your field. What is your field, right? Let's say it's marketing or engineering or chemistry, whatever it is. What do you do? Shortage in labor in fill in the blank field, and then just hit search. And you might want to put countries with a shortage, right? If that doesn't work, but that should work. I've used to do some of that research for some of my candidates on Project Help You Grow to help them out. They'd be like, well, I really just want to get out of, fill in the blank place, wherever. Could be anywhere. I want to get in at anywhere because everybody always thinks it's better everywhere else, right? Grass is greener somewhere else. I get it. So you want to work somewhere. Now, if you want to work in a specific country, it gets a little bit harder because let's say you've decided I want to move to Canada. A lot of people do. I don't know why. It's cold there. Canada is cold. The C in Canada stands for cold, just so you know. Canada is cold. So if you really do want to go from, where you are to Canada, and you have 10 years or 15 years or 20 years of experience in a certain thing, but they don't have a shortage of labor in that particular field, now you've got kind of a problem. But a solution that you can employ that can work for you still, especially given it's really hard to move around right now with COVID. But this is the number one tip that I'm giving to people who want to work abroad right now. Find a company, a multinational company where they have offices or, they do business where you are, wherever that is, and wherever you would like to go. Now, you get started locally because you're legally able to work there. You don't need a visa. You don't need any special permissions. It's really easy to get a job comparatively locally than it is to try to get a job abroad. So find a company that can start you locally. And then as you're there, you can work on with your HR and your manager putting in for a transfer request to try to get them to employ you in the other city, in the other country. Okay. A lot of people do that inside a country, More people are starting to do that out of the country bounds, right? To move abroad. So there's a whole variety of reasons. Now, if you're looking for more information on my website, I have several articles actually written on this topic. The latest one that I wrote, I believe, is right here. I'll pull it up for you right now. And it is called How to Land a Job in a Foreign Country. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit old. This predates COVID. So some of this information that I just talked about is not in this article because that situation didn't exist. However, I will go ahead and put this right now, this link to this article in the comments so that you can grab it. Okay. So there you go. Project Help You Grow, How to Land a Job in a Foreign Country. Read that. I've got some other advice for you in there as well. Okay. Hey, you're welcome. I'm very happy to help. Send me a direct message. Ask me for that template. I'll send it to you. It's free. C stands for cold. It really does. Have you ever been there? Even in the summertime. You know, what they consider hot is like 78 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not hot. It's 100 degrees here today where I'm at. And it's the end of September. It's ridiculous. I'm just looking that up to make sure. I know it's going to be 100 here. One of the ways I know it's really hot outside is because the ants move in. Yeah, it's 97 degrees right now. Our high today is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Wednesday or Tuesday and Wednesday, no, Tuesday is 100 again. Wednesday and Thursday were 102. Friday 100. And then on Saturday, we cool off to 98 degrees. And so it's going to be October and we're still in the hundreds. Really, it's just fantastic to live here if you like the heat. Currently in a role, if it is not my main field, but I want to turn that main field. How do I overcome that hurdle? Well, there's a couple things. So I'd need a little bit more information, Lizette. But first of all, how long have you been out of the main thing, right? So let's say you worked in advertising for 10 years. Then you switched over maybe 4 years ago and you started doing HR. And now you want to go back to advertising. That's really not that hard to overcome. But what you might have to do, and this is where sometimes it's hard for people to accept this, but it just is what it is. Let's say you left advertising, which was your main thing, at a management level. Let's say you were not a supervisor, but you were an actual department manager. To get back into that role, advertising, after a prolonged absence, let's say 3 or more years. Because if it's less than 3 years, you probably don't have to do this. But if it is 3 or 4 or more years, and this happens a lot, people, will take a break and they'll go because of childcare and stuff. They'll go be a homemaker for a while, and then as the kids get older, then they step back into corporate life. So there could be a variety of reasons here. But let's say the gap is more than 3 years, then you might have to step down a position or two to get back in the field. And then what you want to do is work on, working your way back up. Now, the caveat to that can be an alternative to taking a step down. Let's say you have been working for Fortune 500 size companies, major companies, before you switched industries. I don't care what you're doing what you've been doing in the middle is actually kind of irrelevant to your job search, frankly, except for the soft skills that you can transfer over, which is great. But you don't have an employment gap. So you don't have to explain that, but you are going to have to explain why you switched industries. So one of the things that you can do, I've done this personally. Working for large companies is harder to get hired than working for smaller companies. So maybe what you do is, instead of looking for the peer job at a Fortune 500 size company, like a sister size company, right? So they'd be competitors. You take a step down in company size. You go to a medium or maybe even a family run business, and you do the same level work just at a smaller company. So there's a couple suggestions for you. If you have any more follow-up questions, go ahead and ask. Oh, it was just a year? Is that what I'm? Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. If it's just a year, You can go full bore after jobs that you would have went after anyways. And when you're in an interview process, just be prepared to talk about why you switched. Maybe you just wanted to see how it went in the other one. And you could tell people like, look, I was curious. The opportunity opened itself up. It presented itself. I walked through the door with the mindset that, if it doesn't work out, then, I would just come back. And that's where you found yourself. I wouldn't get negative at all. It'd just be like, it wasn't my cup of tea. And maybe you don't like the pay. Maybe you don't like the benefits, whatever it is. Maybe just be honest about it. But with a year gap, even with a 2-year gap, it's a non-issue. If it is an issue for that particular hiring manager, then that's their personal preference. That's not an industry issue. And if there's anyone else watching, I have friends that are in this space, career experts. If you have a different thought on that, go ahead and share, because I don't think that's an issue at all. Happy to help. Very happy to help. Okay, so, here we go. Piggybacking on your ageism discussion, I'm 63 years old. Okay, so that's a tough one at 63. It's what I recommend for people at 63, if you can afford it, is that you find a headhunter. That's one thing to go, because usually at 63, you're not going for entry level work. You're going for director level. You're going for VP. A lot of those jobs aren't advertised on job boards anyways. I don't know if you guys know that, right? But really, up to mid-management level jobs, you could find plentiful on your own. But when it comes to the larger roles, the white collar work, if you will, and it's not just white collar work, but hopefully you can follow what I'm saying. Director level roles and above typically are not going to be advertised on a job board. So your headhunter is going to have access to that data via relationships, because that's really what it boils down to, right? Like somebody had mentioned a staffing agency earlier. Those are the types of roles that staffing agencies would have or be privy to as well. Okay. But let's assume for the moment you can't afford a headhunter. What can you do right now? I have a suggestion for you that you may or may not like, but it can work for you. Now, first of all, you should get Mark, send me a DM. Let me send you my template. Ask me for my resume template. I'll send it to you. It's free. You don't have to, there's no charge. Okay. So we'll get you that. So let's get your resume converted over to that format, because that'll help. But also, when you're doing your job search, if you're looking for jobs yourself, okay, and it sounds like you are, what I want you to do is I want you to start looking at contract roles that don't include benefits. And here's what I have found. What I have found is when you take the full-time benefits out of the equation, you just usurp it from the equation, all of a sudden, everything that they were afraid of bringing you on for, namely increased risk and expense for their benefits, is now no longer a concern, because you're a 1099 employee. Okay. So they're not paying for your medical stuff. And you might go, Ira, I really need that. And I get it. But we can talk about that on a side note in a second. But you've now removed that negative or perceived negative, because you may have perfect health, right? But the fact that you're 63, that's the problem. So how do you overcome it? So fixed term contracts, just regular contracts, temp work, fractional work. For any of those categories, which most people don't search, they're not paying benefits. So it removes that issue. And now your experience, when stacked up against somebody who's got 10 years or 15 years or even 20 years, I mean, you dwarf them. So your big, beautiful brain is now a valuable commodity. But let me tell you, let's talk about some of the other stuff I was just talking about. Said we'll put on the side, the benefits and stuff. Most employers, when they bring in a good contract worker, it's like an interview. It's an extended interview. They want to see how healthy you are. They want to see how much energy you have. How much energy do you bring to the job? They want to see how good you are with technology, because frankly, at 63, a lot of you guys struggle with the technology. So again, if you're ahead of the curve, you can alleviate all these issues. And I'm gonna tell you that if you knock the job out of the park, if you do a good job during the contract, they're going to do one of two things most of the time. They're going to extend the contract, or they're just going to offer you a full-time position, right? So now, regardless if they offer you the long-term position or not, you still need medical benefits, right? I get it. So do I. You may or may not know this. I have 8 children. So it's me, my wife, and 8 children. There's 10 of us. Okay. Now, 2 of my kids are now older and in college themselves. One of them is still on my insurance. The other one is not. So I have 9 people on my insurance. I am an individual business owner, sole proprietor. So one of the things that I was hesitant about going from the employee to the business owner was the benefits. I was paranoid. I'm like, well, I need it. I've got a couple of people in my family that actually have some pretty serious medical health. I don't know how to say that, right? Issues. There's health issues. We have to have insurance. There's no way around it. But I buy it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, I think some people think that you can only get health care through your employer. And it's like, well, no, it's just like anything else. You need a new camera. You go to the store and, you buy the camera. You need a new cell phone. You buy the cell phone. You buy the service that goes with it, right? I mean, healthcare, it's the same way. It's not cheap. I mean, I'll give you that. I'm paying more for healthcare now than I ever have before, right? Because I'm not getting any like company discount, and I'm a sole proprietor. I don't even have a large, like if I had 20 or 100 employees, I'm sure I would get a discount, right? Because of the volume. I don't get that either. So it is more expensive. There's no doubt about it. But I've just added that into what I need to make every month. You know what I mean? So, anyways, hopefully that helps. Kind of gone off on a couple tangents, I think, but yeah, you're welcome, Lizette. That's what I'm here for. That's what the show is here for, right? People have questions. You have questions. Mark has questions. Can we get the link? I did send the link. Let me know if I didn't send you the link. I think I did. I know I put a couple of the links, right? I put the how to get a foreign. Oh, yeah. It's not cheap. It's probably more than most of you pay for mortgage, honestly. It's not as much as I pay for my mortgage, but it's a lot closer than I'd like it to be. But I live in California. The C in California stands for, I don't know, I have to think about that. Something. We never met a tax we didn't like in California. We like to penalize ourselves. So it is what it is. But the C in Canada definitely stands for cold. No doubt about it. But I put the link, let's see. I know I put a couple of links in here. I put the link for, oh, here we go. This was the win the interview link. So it's there in the comments. Oh, my wife, she's up in our bedroom. She's still bedridden. I'm trying to get her better. I actually scolded her yesterday. I'm like, you gotta stop it. Our kids are slobs. We cleaned the house on Saturday for 5 hours. Well, we didn't actually clean for 5 hours. It was a 5-hour window that there was some cleaning happening in. That's really probably a more accurate way to say it. Anyways, on Sunday, my wife who's recovering from multiple concussions, right? It's serious. Like, we need to get you better. She's cleaning again. I scolded her. I'm like, stop it. You need to let the kids do it. They're the ones making the mess. Anyways, we miss my wife. Here's the other one. Here's the other one that I put up, which is how to land a job in a foreign country. Now, again, in full disclosure, this was written in October of 2019. So it doesn't have the COVID advice. And the number one COVID advice that I am offering to you is to find a job locally for a company that has offices or locations in other countries, including the one where you want to relocate. That's the number one tip right now until the world. Oh, I love this, Mike. This is great. Can't afford you. That's what it should be called. Can't afford you. Dang. I've left California. We are drawn back to California for one reason and one reason only: family. But my brother, I'm pissed at my brother. Tim, if you're watching this, you suck. So we moved to the Bay Area and my brother was here. Now, in full disclosure, we moved to the Bay Area mainly because my wife's parents are there and they're older and we wanted our kids to know their grandparents, right? You don't get that time back. So we move. Anyways, my brother, like within 2 months, 3 months, says, "Hey, I'm moving to LA." Great. Thanks for moving, jerk. Anyways, then I moved down to LA in December, the very end of December, frankly. It's like the 29th or something of December. To start my job that started, December 30th in LA. And that little sucker, I think it was April or May, one of those, April or May, that little sucker, he moved to Utah. So now the only family we really have, I mean, I have aunts and uncles and cousins stuff, but we don't see them. The only family that we really see are my wife's parents, and they're in the Bay Area. It's not really convenient. But anyways, can't afford you. There it is. I hope she feels better soon. She's actually feeling better, although the last couple of days I think her headaches have been coming back. But she's married to me, so it's to be expected. Anyways, it's really the dizziness at this point. It's like she described it as like having a vertigo, so she can't really like walk too much. She can't look at screens. So I'll go in our room and she's live streaming Fox News or whatever. And first of all, I didn't even know you could do that. We don't have cable. It's one of the things we do to save money around here. We don't have cable. So we have Netflix and Prime Video and stuff like that, but we don't actually have cable. So I'm like, how are you watching Fox News? We don't have that channel. Anyways, she's like, you can download it. Who knew? Don't get me started on my bills, Bianna. It is ridiculous how much all this stuff costs. That was very helpful. I've been trying to find someone to address this topic for several months. Hey, I'm glad to help. If you have a specific question or whatever, when you send me that DM asking for the resume template, go ahead and ask there. If I can answer it, I will. Ageism is something that it's not right. I mean, it's discrimination. Honestly, it's illegal. People shouldn't do it, but I can tell you that it does happen. And they're very good at hiding it, right? So it's hard to make a case like, oh, you discriminated against me, especially right now because of the darn sheer volume of applicants that come in for every job. It's really easy to discriminate without making it look like you did, because all they have to do is say, well, look, we had these 17 other candidates that were, a better fit, more qualified, which is funny because at 63, I doubt anybody's more qualified than you, honestly. But overqualified is a problem. And nobody's asked me about that, but let me talk about that because I'm actually going to write a blog on this. Overqualified is, in fact, I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. That's what happens. But I was thinking about this the other day. Like, what haven't I addressed on my blog? Project Help You Grow's blog is pretty darn thorough at this point. I cover almost everything. I cover, salaries and negotiations, interview prep, the ATS. I've got several. How to land a job in a foreign country. I've got several. The interview, the keywords, informational interviews. I mean, I've got depression in there, how to deal with the depression, networking, how to search for a job incognito. I mean, all of these topics are covered in my blog. So unlike some to be left unnamed folks out there who say the same stupid crap day in and day out, and people follow them like they're saying something this brilliant. It's like, okay, well, you're just copying somebody else's post and reposting it. Anyways, it's not even yours. And you've said it 30 times already. So I don't do that. My blog, I don't copy my blogs either. So like if I've covered a topic, I've covered the topic. You know what I mean? But here's and I don't know who this is because it's not pulling your information over. So whoever you are, thanks for engaging, but I don't know who you are. Overqualified and overeducated, huge problem. Yet why lie on a resume? You shouldn't lie. Don't ever lie. Omitting is one thing. Lying is completely different. So let's talk about this in the sense I'm going to be writing this blog, and whoever you are, I think you should hang on there and read the blog. I'll have it up probably in the next week or so. Okay. So just keep an eye out for my blog. But here's the thing. The reason why an employer would not want to hire somebody who's overqualified, significantly overqualified. Now, let me preface it this way. Significantly overqualified. Why not? Well, right now, most people are desperate to take a job. And they'll take just about any job they could find, honestly. That's what's going on. But why an employer, why not hire an overqualified? Sorry, I'm just writing this down so I don't forget, because I'm in my 40s and I forget stuff now. Candidate. That's what I'm going to call it. Look out for that blog. Why not hire an overqualified candidate with a question mark? That's going to be the blog title. At least that's the working title right now. Okay. So here's the reason why. A, we've already talked about ageism. If you're older and they hire you, you can skew their benefits package cost, especially if it's a smaller company. The smaller the company is, the higher the impact that they would have to absorb by bringing in an older candidate. Okay. And it doesn't even matter if you're really healthy or not, because the risk factors with age, right? And it just is what it is. Okay. So there's one reason. And we've already talked about that. But here's another reason. And most of you don't think about it this way from the point of view of the employer. So I want to help you understand what they're thinking. Okay. Because this will help you in the interview process, frankly. So here we go. If I'm hiring somebody who I know is going to leave me in a year or two, as soon as the market settles down, that is a hard pill to swallow, especially in an employment market where there are so many candidates out there who would not only be happy to have the job today, but will be happy to have the job in 4 years from now. You understand what I'm saying? If you're used to working at director level and you can't find a job at director level and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to accept the first job offer I get. And I offer you a job, it's not even management. It's just worker bee level. You might take that job and you might work your ass off and you might have a good attitude and you might be the perfect employee. But as soon as you can, you are a flight risk because you can get that director level job again, right? I've run into this issue a lot in my own personal experience, looking for jobs myself. I would apply for jobs and it'd be like, first of all, I don't think I can afford you. Second of all, I'm worried that you're going to leave me because I look at your resume and you leave. What can I say? I do. It's true. Longest I've ever stayed at any one company is 4 years, right? Some companies don't have a problem with that. And other companies like, I'm not hiring you because it's expensive to onboard. It really is. So I get it. But now think about it from the overqualified point of view. When you add that ingredient into it, you go, okay, I'm looking for somebody with 3 to 5 years experience here. And you have 25 years experience. You can do the job. There's no question. But A, I don't believe that you're going to be happy with the pay because I'm not paying you for 25 years experience. I'm paying for somebody with 3 to 5 years experience. You tell me you're willing to accept the job. That's great. But what happens when the market corrects itself? Will you stay? That's where they're coming from. So it's not that we want you to lie. I will never advocate being dishonest. Not ever. My wife and I will tell you the hard truth. I don't care how hard it is better than the sweetest, most kind intentioned lie that you could ever give. So don't ever lie. But there is a strategy behind omitting things from your resume? Why do we have two sections? Work experience and earlier work experience for ageism purposes. Why do we do that? Because we don't want somebody to dismiss us out of hand. We want the opportunity to go in there and interview and wow them. Now, I know because a lot of you are going to say, but Ira, they make you fill out all this stuff on their website. Do they really? I would question that. I know that if you list the job, you have to put in the dates. But if you don't list the job, you don't have to put in the dates. And nobody said anywhere that you had to put in every job you ever had. Nobody ever expected that. And even every job you've had that's relevant in that career, you don't have to do that. You have to put in to a certain amount. Usually it's 5 years. They want to see at least 5 years worth of employment history. And anything over that is stuff that you voluntarily put in. So again, it's not lying. It's omitting. I'm not putting in everything. Look, I went to college the first time in 1995. That's not on my resume anywhere. You get it? The reason why it's not there is it doesn't help me. I graduated high school. I don't have a high school diploma on my resume. Why? I've omitted it. I have one. I just don't include it. I speak Spanish. Did you guys know that? I speak Spanish. It's not on my resume either. I omitted it. Why? It's not relevant. Doesn't need to be there. Hopefully that helps you guys understand. Okay. So I am going to be writing that blog. Now I have another blog that I'm going to be writing first. In fact, I already told you guys on the show. The next blog I'm writing in a video. I'm going to do that today, actually. That's the plan anyways. It's going to be how to improve your social media networking and keep track of the people that you really want to keep track of and engage with without using the feed. And the way that I do it, I'm going to make a video and show you guys, and you can be like, oh, it's brilliant. I never thought about that. Thank you. But it involves using the bookmark, right? And when you bookmark, you want to bookmark their actual, to the post. I'll show you. You can find the article. It's going to be published on serviceprofessionalsnetwork.com. Then I'll make a post about it and share it, obviously, in all my social media channels. But that's going to be on serviceprofessionalsnetwork.com. If you've never been there, then I suggest you go check it out. It's another free tool run by my friend Mike O'Connor. Sorry, I have to move this so I can see it. Hey, there it is. It's going to be in the comments. Serviceprofessionalsnetwork.com. Yeah, that works. Okay, so there it is. So click on that. Make yourself a profile. I'm going to be putting up that blog later today, and then Michael put it up when he puts it up. But anyways, I'm going to submit it. So again, the idea is, let's say you've identified that company that you want to work for, or there's just people like me that I don't want to miss any of these free tips that Ira's putting out. Did you know I put out daily tips every day? I put out something to help job seekers. I either have a networking event for you to participate in, like Follow Me Friday, or I do the Job Seeker Show twice a week, which is, Ask Ira, job seekers Q&A. Or anyways, there's always stuff. I wrote my blog on the cover letters the other day. There's job listings that I put up. There are times where I'll actually say, look, if you're looking for a job, tell me what you want to do and where you want to do it. And I'll actually find listings for you. I like to do that sometimes. Right. So I have all kinds of different ways that I help job seekers. If you want to stay connected to me, you can bookmark me that way. And then you can go engage in the comments. And that way it helps to train the algorithm. So you'll see us more that way. But even still, you're not at the mercy anymore of like, I get this from people. I haven't seen your posts in 3 weeks. I'm like, really? Because I post every day, usually more than once. It's very rare, but I only post once a day. And that's even on any given platform. I post pretty much every day on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Pinterest. I mean, on Service Professionals Network, I think I post more than anybody there. But I post all over the place. So I'll teach you how to find me. I don't think I missed any questions, but if you have asked a question and I didn't answer you, please go ahead and resubmit the question now because I'm getting ready to bounce. My time is over for today. I appreciate the lively comments and conversation. We haven't had a ton. That's typical. Now, if you want more more questions, Saturdays I get probably 4 times the volume of comments and questions, which is fine. But anyways, I like the Monday vibe because it feels like it's a little more intimate this way. Here's a question I didn't see from education. Does the same apply education omit what is not relevant? Absolutely. It absolutely does. Right. So you don't need to put on there high school, junior college, any college that you didn't, if it doesn't show a degree, like if you didn't graduate, you can pull all that off. If you do want to leave it on there because, you don't want to make them think that, let's say you don't have any degree, no degree. You can have that education in there. Just strip out the dates, especially if it's older. If it's within the last 10 years, you can leave it on there. That's fine. But hopefully that helps. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Again, this show airs twice a week. It's Monday at noon Pacific, and it's Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So both Pacific times. But Saturday at 9, Monday at noon. Don't forget, if you're looking to build your network, every Friday I launch it's the largest networking event on all of LinkedIn. It happens every week. It's called Follow Me Friday. I've been doing it for well over a year. We average somewhere between 100 and 150,000 people week in and week out. So what you do is you come onto the post, you basically, make any kind of comment like, hello, I'm here. I'd like to connect with people and, whatever, something like that. And then what you do is you go through the comments and you start viewing the profiles of everybody who makes a comment. You follow them. Then you reply to their comment saying something to the effect of, hey, nice to meet you here. I just followed you. Would you like to follow me back? And that starts the new relationship. If you really want to build the relationships, stay active in the posts because people will come back. Even I'll get comments today from the post on Friday, right? So you just go, you bookmark it, you come back every few hours, you engage with people that way. The post gets, usually somewhere between 500 and 1,000 comments in a weekend. So it's live. It's a lively place, but that will help you build your connections, not just in volume, but in quality, because we joke around with each other there. Like I tease Mike, I tell him I'm going to mute him. I do that on speed networking with Mike and Ira on Tuesdays. That happens. That's tomorrow. So that starts at 3 p.m. Pacific and goes to 5 p.m. It was 2.5 hours. I just trimmed it down to 2 because it seemed like a lot of people would come at 3, but not want to stay till 5:30, right? So I've shortened it down. But what we do in that, we have tables, 6 people to a table, and we basically sit there and we talk with each other for 5 minutes, and then we move tables, we switch tables, and we do it again. And Mike and I bring people up on stage with us, and we'll do 30-second introductions. We just started that last week. It was pretty good. We're going to shorten it down. We were doing them a little longer. Seems to drag on, so we're going to shorten them down. But if you'd like to come, it's Speed Networking with Mike and Ira. You search it on LinkedIn, it'll be there. Or I'll tell you what, I will go ahead and grab that link too, just so everybody can have it. You can sign up for it. It is free. Almost everything I do is free, right? If there's a cost associated with it, then I will tell you. I run Bowman Digital Media. You may not know that, but if you want it, that's not free, right? I charge people for that. But if you want to network for free, here is the link. Go ahead and click on this link and register. And then again, the event's tomorrow. Now we do this every Tuesday. This is the link for tomorrow's episode, right? For tomorrow's networking event. But every week we have a link, okay? And we have an event page, by the way, on LinkedIn. You can go there and chat there. And we encourage that. You can get to know people there, okay? So does it work? The LinkedIn hashtag open to work? No, I actually think it's counterproductive. I don't recommend people use that. And it's not the hashtag that's the problem. It's the little green circle thing. It's ineffectual, honestly. Most people understand that you're on LinkedIn. you either are looking for a job or you're open to talking about opportunities. It's a business social media site. So the green thing actually just kind of makes you look silly. Um, Now, again, some people have a different take on that. But from the recruiters that I talk to, from the hiring managers that I talk to, and just my own personal experience, I don't recommend that one. I don't think they did a good job with that one. I know Ono was a big thing for a while, and I told people to stop using Ono as well, right? Because it was hurting them. You have to be very careful about the way that you approach the job search because you don't want to come across as desperate, which is part of what that particular issue is, right? It makes you look like you're desperate. So people want people want to hire valuable commodities. They don't want to hire something that, comes off as desperate, right? So it's got all of this adds into it, right? It's funny, it's subtle. I know some people go, well, it doesn't hurt anything. Well, that's not true. It can actually hurt you. It can hurt you a lot more than it can help you. It is my pleasure to help again. My name is Ira, this show twice a week. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you need assistance, how can you start a conversation with a recruiter? It's really simple. Go to their posts and say something in the comments. That's how you start it. It's not a DM. It's not an email. It's nothing in desperation. You're going to go to their posts and you're going to comment on their posts, something about their post or about them, complimentary to them, not about you, about them. That's how you start the conversation. Okay. That's the last question I'm taking for the day. I'll see you guys in the comments of my posts. Have a great day, everybody. Coffee. It's Ira's best friend. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Be on the lookout for my blog, surfaceprofessionalsnetwork.com, later today. The Project Help You Grow post will be out later, probably on Wednesday or Thursday. You're welcome. See y'all later.